While the world is in turmoil, there is one thing that will never sleep, right? One ledger that will never sleep. The XRP ledger, guys, right? This is the ledger. This is why we have high hopes high hopes for what? XRP, Ripple, and the XRPL itself, right? While everything else is imploding, collapsing, there's one that's still here. Think about that just for a moment. It seems like the reset is inbound, right? We're not making any of this stuff up, guys. Why? From Gold Telegraph, breaking news! S&P Global Ratings is warning the world is at risk of a crisis as governments, households, and financial institutions binge on debt. Global debt racing to 366% of output. Do you smell the monetary reset? I'm getting very excited, guys. Right? This means we're getting super close to the reset, the collapse. Right? Finally. Now, is it going to happen very soon? People are talking about in the next week or so. I don't think so, guys. The reason why is because it's quite simple. This is why. It's because they don't have enough people dependent on their system, right? Not enough quote unquote slaves and whatnot, guys, right? They want to make us dependent on their system as much as possible. Why? Because when the collapse comes through, right? When the collapse hits, that would mean we get fearful. You probably will have a lot of fear. Then you cry out for what? The solution to come into place, right? And there you go. They'll come in with UBI and a new financial system. And it's quite clear, right? I smell it, XRP. So anybody got a fancy theory on how that monetary reset would be? I mean, we all hear about the Great Reset, but how can that even happen? Debt forgiveness or what? Google Gestara, which we talked about before, right? Its debt is supposed to be wiped out. Gold comes back into the play. We head into this new world, this new utopian era. But someone pointed out something fascinating right here. Read the book, The Dying of Money. Currency resets have happened plenty of times, just not to this extent, right? Why? It's so simple, guys. It's because this time is a little bit different than the previous. It's because we're going to completely have a revamp of the current financial system, right? A new one is inbound. That's the only reason, right? A new era, so to speak. Typically, temporarily hyperinflation with the current fiat. Then they would introduce a new currency with an exchange rate, so you could exchange it to the new fiat or whatever the case may be, right? A new CBDC or whatever it is at that point in time. So, a new CBDC, did we just hear? Remember, this is the black swan of all black swans, guys, right? This collapse or this reset. Why? From Ripple. Remember, the reset, the collapse ties in, obviously, of course, to Ripple XRP, right? Duh. It's been estimated that 90% of central banks around the world are pursuing CBDC projects. Now ask yourself why. Wow, they even stated why. Let's dive into the benefits to learn more. We just talked about it, folks, right? It's if you're not seeing it at this point in time, you just have to be more open-minded, right? Enhancing national competitiveness, increasing payment system efficiencies, and fostering innovation while developing new use cases are among the groundbreaking benefits CBDCs will bring to financial institutions. Now, of course, CBDCs can significantly increase financial inclusion because they can be distributed to any individual that has internet access through a computer, tablet, or smartphone. Right? This is where we'll see more people come. I heard, if I'm not mistaken, guys, in the next few years, so many more people will come and join into the internet, right? Will come online, so to speak, than offline, right? We'll go into the grid. So, discover the key stats to understand why financial institutions are optimistic about CBDC technology and its potential impacts on business, finance, and society, right? It's so clear, guys. It seems like the world is coming to the play, guys, right? Look at this, connecting everything together. You guys see all these lines, right? It's literally a connection to every single specific location, right? CBDC is the future of fiat. It's they just told you guys. Ripple just literally put it in plain sight. The future, right? of fiat central bank digital currencies. 85%, by the way, of payment leaders at financial institutions globally think their country will launch a digital currency in the next 4 years. Wow. In the next 4 years, guys, cut that down to 2 maximum, right? Why? Because if there is a problem, they could literally make these technologies go live within the next second, right? Within the next day or within that day in itself. XRP Ledger CBDCs will be the only ones I can actually trust and see, right? So it's quite clear, folks. Now, let's talk more about this debt situation. Why? Because again, it's not looking good at all for the economy, right? So the world is at risk of a crisis as governments, households, and financial institutions binge on debts. Remember, everything is built on debts, right? And that's how bad, guys. I can't even fathom it. It's going to be so bad that we can't even comprehend it, because when the debt implosion takes place, it's game over, right? That's the monster of them all. Now remember, Mr. Poole stated debt to be wiped out. Now I'm not sure how that will take place, but it ties in with Nasara and Jasara, right? The new quantum financial system, which seems to be a good thing for humanity in itself. So that would mark a sharp increase from the world's 300 trillion pile of debt as of June 2022, as leverage rises slightly faster for mature economies than emerging peers. Quote, demand for debt to help consumers with inflation, mitigate climate change, and rebuild infrastructure, for example, will continue to mitigate the risk of a financial crisis, right? Trade-offs between spending and savings may be needed, but guys, they will not, right? We already know this financial crisis is looming, right? It's here. More Americans turning to credit cards to cover basic expenses as inflation rages. That's exactly what. Guys, 2023 is going to be crazy, right? We are already getting priced out, right? From basic necessary things, right? As in food, these other sorts of things, guys, right? There's literally an economic crisis happening as we speak, but it seems like I don't see anybody outraged against the Federal Reserve, right? They seem to be printing as much as they can, as much as they want, guys, right? But remember this though. Oh, and by the way, this isn't going to stop, right? The reason why there's inflation in the first place. Remember this, the timeline is so clear. They manufactured the C thing in 2020, right? Then the war took place after that. Each time this happens, it's for you to be in a fearful state, right? So you could become more easily controlled. Just look back at the past, at the C thing. Were you at fear? Ask yourself this: were you at fear when the C thing took place? Most probably yes, right? And you're more easily targeted, guys, at that point in time, right? To do certain things that they want, that they tell you to do, because of your frequency. Now, the reason why that all happened in the first place is because they need you to be dependent on their system, right? So when it collapses, you could cry out for the solution. It's super simple, super easy, folks. Then they state millennials are to blame for sky-high inflation. What? We told you guys that they always blame it on you. They never blame it on themselves, guys, right? We the people are their scapegoats, basically, right? They always blame it on us, guys. And how come people aren't how come people aren't outraged about this, right? Never blame it on themselves. Why? Because they're puppets. If they did, they will get fired, if not worse, right? Because they signed contracts and whatnot. U.S. Treasury Secretary Yellen, the debt ceiling is expected to be reached on January 19th, right? So that's literally next week or this week, guys, right? This year, I mean this month, basically. But remember, the White House has no position on how high the debt limit should be raised, right? What's the point of having a debt limit if it will be raised once again we get to that limit? Exactly, right? Why? Because they're going to buy everything back up, guys. Print as much as they can. They cannot let it collapse at this point in time. And when it does collapse, when it does collapse, guys, it's going to be terrifying, right? The U.S. economy is transitioning to more stable and consistent growth. Sure it is. Everything's fine, quote unquote. The U.S. Government will hit the debt limit on Thursday. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen says Congress needs to take steps now to avoid default. Imagine if a regular person only started taking steps to avoid default just 6 days before the deadline. It's easy for them because they just make the money printer go brr, right? Congress might as well remove the debt ceiling. It hasn't served a purpose since that event right there. And the debt will never be reduced, right? Exactly, folks. It has to go high and high and high. Remember, we said it, I can't believe it. On my thread, I said it, I outlined it all for you guys, that everything will go up. Oil, groceries, right? No matter what, guys, it's because they're trying to price people out. They're trying to wipe the middle class out. So there's a two-tiered system, the top and the bottom, right? The debt ceiling drama is starting in Washington, D.C. again. It is all fake drama. We will never default on our debts. They will always print the money. Exactly, right? What would happen if the U.S. defaults on its debt? Someone pointed out. So someone asked this AI, what would happen if the United States defaulted on? If the United States were to default on its debt, it would likely have severe consequences for the economy and financial markets. A default would mean the United States government is unable to pay the interest or principal on its debt when it comes due. This could cause a loss of confidence in the government's ability to manage its finances, leading to a decrease in the value of the United States dollar and an increase in interest rates. This would make it more expensive for the government to borrow money in the future and for individuals and businesses to borrow money as well. It would cause a decrease in the value of investments such as stocks and bonds and potentially lead to a recession or even a depression. And AI stated this, guys, right? Of course, we're not heading into a recession. It's going to be a Great Depression, if not worse than that, guys, right? Because this time we're transitioning into a new system. I don't think last time they did, guys, so that's why it's going to be pretty insane, right? If you ask me. Listen to this, guys. Fiat in Venezuela is so worthless, people threw it out with the garbage, right? They need Bitcoin. But will Bitcoin solve the issue, problem? No, right? And this is another reason why I'm into XRP as well, obviously, right? Because if everything has to go up, that means inflation will go through the roof, right? Hyperinflation. Check this out, guys. It's getting this bad, right? It has gotten this bad, guys. So if it could happen to one country, nation, location, why can't it happen to other places, right? In the same world. So a lot of people are talking about Bitcoin really fixes this. Remember, XRP is deflationary in nature as well, right? Think about that, folks. And it's superior to Bitcoin as well. It's quite simple. So all the good narratives are with XRP. Last but not least, from Beyond Broke, when the United States Treasury cannot raise the debt ceiling, the government would be forced to default on its debt payments. This would likely lead to a decrease in the value of the United States dollar, a rise in interest rates, and a decrease in the credit worthiness of the United States government. If you trust the US government at this point in time, then I don't know what to tell you guys, because what? Fiat, the current monetary system, is literally built on what? Trust, right? Fiat, a death spiral. Everything is built on trust, guys. It's all fake, right? With that one movie. It's all out of thin air, right? I don't know. We're living in crazy times, to say the least, guys. Not financial advice. But anyways, guys, hope you guys are amazing. See ya.